Hey guys, I thought I'd give you a bit of an update about what's been going down here in South America. This time from Chile. One of the difficulties we had in packing for this trip was the need, with relatively few clothes we could take with us, to pack for both tropical rainforest, desert environment, and snow-capped mountain. Thankfully, I think we've pulled it off. Yeah. Perfect. There's a lot of controversy about how you're meant to say the name of the southwesternmost country in South America. Some say Chile, some say Chile. A lot of Americans seem to say Chile. But however you choose to pronounce it, we can all agree on one thing. Alexis Sanchez is the most disappointing export they've ever sent to Manchester. When we first arrived in Chile, the day before, we had been on the beach in Rio at 33 degrees. When we landed in Santiago, it was -1. So we had to hot-foot it to the central mall in Santiago, inside the Costanera Center. We bought jumpers, we bought coats. We did what we had to do in order to survive. Quick note on Chilean customer service. Lara bought a coat from a shop called Duite, and the next day discovered there was a tear in the front of the coat. We took it straight back to the shop and they refused to refund it, despite the fact they had a guarantee against defects. A tear in the front of the coat, they said, could not be a defect. At which point I asked what then a defect was. A problem with the fabric, they responded. This is a problem with the fabric, I said. It's not a defect, they said. So just be aware that you may not get 5-star service from the Costanera Center and especially the Duite company. Day 2 in Chile, we headed up the Andes on a snowshoe expedition. This is my first time in snowshoes. We had the best time. The scenery is dramatic and amazing, and you warm up pretty quickly even though you're in the snow. Temperature at this point around -5. Here's a question. What do colonial architecture, pickpocketing, street markets, prostitution, and modern art have in common? The answer is, of course, the Plaza de Armas in Santiago. In a lot of South American cities, they have a central Plaza de Armas, or kind of weapons square, which is typically the most important square in the city. Here you'll find a lot of beautiful colonial architecture, a lot of people willing to sell you a lot of different things, and as long as you keep one hand on your wallet and another on your phone, you'll probably be okay. In Santiago, they've got a number of different barrios or neighborhoods where you can find really different expressions of the life of the city. Some of them are very vibrant. A couple that we really loved were Bella Vista, where they had some absolutely fabulous street art. And amazing places to sit and eat. And they also have another barrio called La Stadia, which has some great nightlife. Here we found a wonderful restaurant called Chipe Libre and embarked on a pisco tasting. That's pisco. Pisco is the national drink of both Chile and Peru. It's a brandy they make from fermenting grape juice into a sort of high-powered spirit. Pisco varies in color from transparent to a dark sort of whiskey color, and the more mature the pisco, the darker the color gets. As a relatively simple guide, choose a darker pisco if you like, for example, whiskey, and choose a lighter pisco if you like, for example, daytime TV. Just a very quick note on Santiago and what it's like as a holistic experience. The city is modern, it's sleek, it's got great shops, it's got great restaurants, it has amazing food, it's got wonderful drink. And all of this is against the backdrop of the Andes. Everywhere you go, you can see these giant snow-capped mountain peaks looming over you. It's so beautiful. So even though it was cold, it was such a stark contrast to where we'd been in the other parts of Brazil that it was a really great experience. We stayed in a wonderful Airbnb flat there that I would very happily have lived in, and I think to date it's the best Airbnb I've seen. Scratch that, it's not. On our last day in Santiago, we took part in a wine tasting with the Vinolia company. The whole experience was fantastic. They took us into a cinema room where we had experts from 5 different vineyards introduce their wines. We had a range of wines, including grapes I hadn't tried before. I'm not gonna lie, most wine tastings are a great experience anyway, but this one in Vinolia was a really special one. I'd give it 5 stars and highly recommend it to anyone who's going to Santiago, especially as rather than tasting several wines from the same vineyard, you can taste 5 very different ones from all around Chile. There's a lot more I could say about Santiago, but I'm sure other people could say it better. So if you're interested, look up some different places on YouTube or blogs, and I will update you next time on Valparaiso, and I'll see you soon. Bye.